Hey guys, it's Tamara coming back at you with another video. Let's go ahead and get started with our next topic. We've been talking a lot about relationships. I didn't realize that we were talking so much about relationships. We have been talking about divorce, ways to cope with divorce. We've also talked about transference and how to deal with transference. We've also talked about narcissism. So we've been, keeping up with this theme on relationships. And so today I want to bring up a much requested topic, which is pathological liars. It's something that we have studied in the field of psychology for years. And unfortunately, we continue to face that pathological lying in our society and sometimes in the upper places in our world, right? In politics and religion, the list goes on. We run into a pathological liar. Sometimes we have pathological liars who sit in very, very important seats in our world. So I think this is a good topic for now. I think that the much requested topic from me on pathological liars, I want to push forward and talk to you guys about that today. So today with this video is that you will be able to define what pathological lying is, and we're also going to talk about some ways to protect yourself from the pathological liar. Now this is going to be a part 2 series, because this series I'm just going to introduce the topic and educate you to it, but the next video is going to tell you how to cope with it. All right guys, so let's go ahead and jump right in. I want to give you a definition from the Psychiatric Times on pathological lying. Okay, the Psychiatric Times says that pathological lying is a long history of frequent or repeated lying for which there is no apparent motive or external benefit. So let me repeat that. A long history of frequent, repeated lying for which there is no apparent motive or external benefit. Okay, basically what that means when we break it down is that you have a liar who is repeatedly telling lies even though it doesn't benefit them in the short term or in the long term. And sometimes it's really difficult to pinpoint, why is this person lying? Because sometimes there's no motive. Okay, pathological lying is best defined, if you ask me, as almost like a disease of the heart. Right? There's no empathy, there's no care, there's no compassion, there's no self-concept, there's no idea of how I affect the next person with my lie, right? There are some people who lie just for the benefit of lying, just for the internal gratification that, wow, I can actually tell this lie today and get away with it. And this person is weak enough or vulnerable enough to accept it. That's the difficult part about pathological lying. So let's go down a couple of things. Actually, I'm going to give you a reference, and I'm going to actually post it down in the description box about pathological lying. It's an article that I wrote back in, I believe, 2013. And that particular article had so many people asking questions. I think there's like over 200 questions. There's like 1 million Facebook shares and like 2 million tweets. And that article was amazing, amazingly popular. And I think it's mainly because this is a topic that we often deal with, but we don't know what to do with it. So I'm going to post that down in the description box to give you some firsthand knowledge of what that article was all about. But I'm going to reiterate some of the points that I made in that article. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Okay. So the first thing that I want you to focus on when you're dealing with pathological liars is that they will often study you. Pathological liars are typically sociopaths. Sometimes they are also narcissists. So I think it's important to keep in mind that when you're dealing with a pathological liar, they will most likely study you. They're going to study your mannerisms. They're going to study the way that you think, right? They're going to study the way that you process information. They're going to study how loyal to them you are, right? How crazy about them you are. Let's say if you're dating a pathological narcissist. So you want to be mindful of the fact that they're constantly looking for your weakness, right? They want to find some way to get in. So keep this in mind. Pathological liars often want to study you, all right? The next one is that most pathological liars, as I'm sure you can guess, will often lack empathy. They don't know how to put themselves in your shoes. They don't know how to feel what you feel, or imagine feeling what you feel, or imagine thinking what you're thinking, right? They just act. So that's another important thing to keep in mind when you're dealing with another person who tends to lie, is that they honestly just don't have the skills to meet you where you're at. They don't get you. Quite frankly, they may not be very interested in getting you. And they also don't have the skills and the ability to relate and to have empathy, all right? The next one is most people who engage in lying, whether that's a white lie or whether that's, you know, a minor lie, most people get anxious and guilty and they completely shut down, right? Or they don't know what to do. Pathological liars, however, don't necessarily do that. Sometimes they are very comfortable. Sometimes they give you, you know, a lot of eye contact. Sometimes they seem very genuine, right? It's a skill for them. You have to keep in mind that pathological lying becomes a skill. Once a person engages in it and they realize that it actually has some social pull or some social power, they realize that, I can do this and get away with it and nothing is going to happen to me, so I guess I'll do it again. And the more they engage in that behavior, it's practice, right? And so what they learn to do is give you what you're looking for. Okay, so you're either going to get two things when you confront a pathological liar for lying. One is going to be, they're actually going to give you everything that you're looking for, right? Eye contact, head nodding, I'm sorry all the time, right? You know, I didn't mean to do it, right? They're going to say the right things, do the right things, give you the right amount of eye contact, okay? Or the next thing they're going to do is just remain absolutely calm because they've had experience with this before and they've learned how to respond. So you want to keep that in mind, that pathological liars don't always show the behaviors we think that they should show, okay? The next one is they don't do the common things that we think they should, okay? So pathological liars might give you 50% truth and 50% lies, right? When you come face to face with a liar, what's the first thing that you think they're going to do? Right? For me, I think that they're going to tell me all of the truth and nothing but the truth, because now you're caught and I see you, right? A pathological liar could care less. They don't care if you've caught them. They're going to find some way to go around you. They're going to find some way to make you even more confused, right? Or they're going to tap into that weakness and get you that way, okay? They also won't give you 100% truth most of the time. Sometimes they'll give you 50% truth and 50% lies, right? Or 5% lies and 95% truth, right? They know how to work things for their benefit, okay? I also want to point out that this is not because they think they're smarter. This is not because they think they're smarter than you. This is simply because they've had practice, and so they know what to do. And they have, as I stated at the very beginning, they have studied you, okay? The next one is most pathological liars are sneaky and manipulative. That's a common one, I'm sure you're well aware of, but I just want to reiterate that they're very sneaky and manipulative, and they know exactly what to do to get you where they want you, okay? And last but not least, most pathological liars show strange behaviors, right? Sometimes, you know, the innocent, loving, caring person that you thought you saw ends up being the vicious wolf that could care less about you. So you want to keep that in mind, that some individuals display very strange behaviors. It doesn't matter, you know, who you are, what you've been to that person, they're going to act strange towards you. All right, guys, so thank you so much for being with me today. I'm actually going to post my information at the end of this video so that you can have access to it. But just wanted to make sure that I touched on this topic a little bit. Stay tuned for the next review, because I'm going to give you some tips on how to deal with this. I encourage you to give it this video a thumbs up when you do. It pushes the video to the top of the search results, and that allows other people to have access to it. So I encourage you to do that. If you want to see more, I also encourage you to hit the subscribe button. I think it's on this side. All right, guys, so thanks so much, and I'll see you very soon. Bye. That was just such a sad reality for me. And as a matter of fact, I worked there for about about 1 to 2 years, I think. Yeah, for about 1 to 2 years. And just the relationships that I built with those kids helped me see that most of their pathological lying had no purpose. It was almost like an impulsive thing. It came out before they could even think whether or not it was appropriate or whether or not they needed to lie. Other kids were strictly rebellious and oppositional. They had problems with conduct, and so, you know, they would lie just to get away with things. And then I saw this small pocket of kids that didn't fit the description of impulsive, didn't fit the description of this is part of my identity, but they fit the description of just pure dysfunctional evil. It was, I like deceiving people, I like hurting people, I like, you know, getting over on them and manipulating them and seeing how far I can make them go with me and trust me. And it really is a certain kind of evil when you think about it, because, you know, once you get someone to trust you, it's really evil and just beneath vindictive to hurt them because you've gained their trust. So I started learning and studying this topic back then, which was about maybe 7 years ago. And I have 11 years in the field of counseling and psychotherapy.